Way, a 42-year-old African lawyer, Nelson Mandela, the most dynamic leader in South Africa today. The police were hunting for him at the time, but African nationalists had arranged for me to meet him at his hideout. He is still underground. This is Mandela's first television interview. I asked him what it was that the African really wanted.
The Africans want the franchise on the basis of one man, one vote. They want political independence.
Do you see Africans being able to develop in this country without the European being pushed out?
We have made it very clear in our policy that South Africa is a country of many races. There is room for all the various races in this country.
Are there many educated Africans in South Africa?
Yes. We have a large number of Africans who are educated and who are taking part in the political struggles of the African people. The question of education has nothing to do with the question of the vote. On numerous occasions, it has been proved in history that people can enjoy the vote even if they have no education. Of course, we desire education, and we think it's a good thing. But you don't have to have education in order to know that you want certain fundamental rights, you have got aspirations, you have got claims. It has nothing to do with education whatsoever.
Are you planning any more campaigns of non-cooperation?
Yes. The Pietermaritzburg resolution makes provision for campaign of non-cooperation with the government, and we are presently studying plans to implement this aspect of the resolution.
Now, if Dr. Verwoerd's government doesn't give you the kind of concessions that you want sometime soon, is there any likelihood of violence?
There are many people who feel that the reaction of the government to our stay at home, ordering a general mobilization, arming the white community, arresting 10,000s of Africans, the show of force throughout the country, notwithstanding our clear declaration that this campaign is being run on peaceful and non-violent lines, close a chapter as far as our methods of political struggle are concerned. There are many people who feel that it is useless and futile for us to continue talking peace and non-violence against a government whose reply is only savage attacks on an unarmed and defenseless people. And I think the time has come for us to consider, in the light of our experiences in this stay at home, whether the methods which we have applied so far are adequate.
Bis Ende Oktober Mehrwertsteuer geschenkt auf über...
Political governance in southeast of Nigeria has been under challenge, especially since emergency of Nigerian President Buhari, who is now retired, and the Fulani hitmen in southeast of Nigeria. Lack of equitable distribution of essential amenities to southeast amongst all geographical zones compounded the establishment of fear that Igbos are not needed in Nigeria, except to use them, according to Professor Soludo, the governor of the present-day Anambra State. To use them is not only a slogan of federal government, but Southeast governors and politicians against their citizens. Today, late former prisoner of conscience and the South African former president, Nelson Mandela, left some words for Southeast politicians and Ohanaeze Ndigbo. Studies show that many Nigerian politicians and citizens do not understand what political struggle means because Nigeria did not fight for independence just like other African countries. Nigerian independence was given as a gift compared to some African countries that struggled and fought before they were granted independence by their masters. This lack of struggle and the uncoordinated compromises led to the political problems in Nigeria. It is the IPOP and other agitators that are facing fellow black African leaders or colonizers that are resisting political, economic, and social changes to accommodate all citizens with equal opportunities. Like apartheid in South African countries of 20th century, Nigerian leaders and their supporters have assumed the position of minority rule just like in South African countries. In Nigeria, it is no longer referred to as white minority rules, but it is now referred to as full-tide minority rule system in Nigeria, just like apartheid. Comparative studies show that people like Nelson Mandela, late Robert Mugabe, etc., suffered under white minority rule, but today, Igbo nation and other southeastern Nigerians are suffering same under the regime of northern Fulani extraction, thereby establishing and solidifying the full-tide system of minority rule in Nigeria. This is the only reason why the Biafran agitators are applying same international approach against this full-tide regime. It is to everyone's knowledge that Western countries like Britain, America, and Western Europe supported minority rule of Pieter Botha in South Africa and also Ian Smith regime of Rhodesia. This is applicable to Nigeria today. Most Western countries are indeed supporting Nigerian full-tide system, including Southeast governors and the Ohanaeze and Ndigbo. These are the compounding problems. Like ANC, IPOB are designated for wiping out like the ANC, as indicated in the interviews of Mandela. In South Africa, this was as a result of the white minority regime superiority. They claimed superiority over the black Africans they were ruling. But in Nigeria, we don't understand if it is a repayment of the civil war that ensued between 1967 to 1970.
Our fathers fought, stopped. The reason why they fought is still there.
The triggers for the war in Biafra were Nigeria's first military coup in 1966 and the persecution of the Igbo people the following year. 100,000 people died in fighting, but it suggested up to 1 million others, many of them children, died of starvation. Relief supplies were left to rot in ports in Nigeria as no agreement could be reached to get food to the Biafran people. The conflict ended in 1970 when there was a formal surrender to Nigeria's General Yakubu Gowon. Colonel Emmanuel Nwobosi was one of the 5 commanders of the coup and says the conditions that led to the war still exist.
Or religious war, or tribal war, or hatred that emerges through the 1966 January coup. There is no doubt various governments of the world know the history of Biafra, as well as Nigerian youth, more especially the affected zone, the southeastern Nigeria, the Igbos. This history has sunk into them. The youth are aware of the war more than ever and are vibrating in their nerves, heart, and soul. Therefore, it is a better thing to resolve these problems because it has become genetic and transitional. For those fighting against resolving the problems either by dialogue or other means may have
We have
many
our own
fights
struggle
ahead to
which
fight.
we are conducting. We are grateful to the world for supporting our struggle. But nevertheless, we are an independent organization with its own policy. And the attitude of every country towards, our attitude towards any country is determined by the attitude of that country to our struggle. Yasser Arafat, Colonel Gaddafi, Fidel Castro support our struggle to the hilt. There is no reason whatsoever why we should have any hesitation about hailing their commitment to human rights as they are being demanded in South Africa. Our attitude is based solely on the fact that they fully support the anti-apartheid struggle. They do not support it only in rhetoric. They are placing resources at our disposal for us to win the struggle. That is the position.
Why are you so insistent upon maintaining sanctions at a time when it can be argued that the South African government has made more concessions, your release being only one of them, than it has ever made in the past 40 years?
I should know better about this matter, Mr. Coppel, than you.
No doubt.
After all, it is the ANC, not the government, that is responsible for the present talks. We have been hammering the government since 1986 to meet us, and in spite of the humiliating and insulting conditions they tried to impose on us before they could agree to meeting us, we nevertheless had sufficient patience and sufficient commitment to peace as to continue hammering them to meet us. They have eventually done so, but despite the fact that the talks are now on, apartheid is still in place. The police are still killing our people as they've done over the years. Vigilante groups are openly arming themselves for the specific purpose of attacking progressive groups and progressive leaders. The right wing is also arming itself openly, and they say they are doing so for the purpose of destroying the ANC. They are calling for some of us to be hanged. Why would you think that we should now relax our strategies? What has happened?
Let's move on to the next question.
Amanta. My name is Gloria Toot. I was born here in Harlem. I'm a lawyer. I've lived here all my life. I'm also on the board of directors of the African Educational Foundation that's raising money to train the people of Africa for industry. I am concerned about the future economy of South Africa. I am concerned when I look at the newer countries that gained their freedom so hard fought, indeed did not demonstrate sound fiscal policy. Illiteracy is still quite large, and hunger.
If I may...
What we want to achieve is a healthy and vibrant economy which can ensure full employment to our people, maximum production, and the development of social justice. We wanted to rectify the imbalances that exist in our economy. One of the companies, well-known companies in the country, one company owns more than 75% of the shares quoted in the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. This is illustrative of how our economy is organized. It is the resources of the country are monopolized by a white minority, even in that minority by a few individuals, whereas the masses of the people, especially blacks, are left poor, ridden with disease, illiteracy, without educational facilities. We wanted to develop an economy which will put an end to that. To put a label if they so wish.
Mr. Mandela, as I told you before we began this broadcast, almost all the questions will be coming here from the audience, but we also went to a couple of people back in South Africa, told them you were going to be on the broadcast, and asked them if they had any questions for you or comments that they wanted to make to you. One of those from whom we are about to hear now, and I'd like you to address your attention over to that monitor, is a man by the name of Koos van der Merwe, who's one of the leaders of the Conservative Party.
As many children from the nation would continue to fight, which may end up one day disastrously. When will peace appear? Who will bring the peace? Who will initiate it? How will it come? Then, when this comes, that will resolve the problems. The politicians at both national and the local levels do not want peace. They only want to use military to suppress the truth or suppress problems that could have been solved. How will military resolve problems? Military is coming to kill, and any resistance to it leads to full-fledged war. And this is not what people needed. They needed the politicians to resolve these issues. The elder statesmen have spoken. The government of the day would not listen. They want to be dictators, and they are dictators. They want what they want, and their allies will advise them not to make peace. But peace brings solution to all these problems. Peace only came to South Africa when de Klerk resolved by himself and his allies to bring out Mandela out of prison. It was then that peace negotiations began, and the resolutions led to free South African country. Unfortunately, the southeastern governors and the Ohanaeze are using the imprisonment of Nnamdi as a sort of political bargain. This will not resolve the problems ahead. With this, we come to the end of this very program. If you have your suggestion, do not fail to put it down in the comment section, and also do not fail to subscribe, share, and hit the notification bell. Thank you very much, and God bless you all for watching.